Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is part 2 of our interview with Amanda Booth. You can check out all of her art and you can request her to make a piece of your very own at trinketsbyamandabooth.com. If you did not tune in last week, please go check out the first part of the video. Honestly, I think everything that she had to say was so interesting. I think that the art that she does is so fun. So don't cut yourself short. Go check out part 1 and then come back and check out part 2. If you've already seen the beginning half, well then welcome back and I'll shut the fuck up so that you can listen to the rest of this interview. Welcome back and happy Tuesday, turkeys. How long have we known each other?
We've known each other for 2 decades.
I am not apologizing for who I am or what I like or the people that I love.
How do I be a wife? How do I be a mom? And how do I be myself and all of that? You didn't see that coming, did you?
Okay, process questions because I want to know, and I'm sure other people do too. How did you figure out the first time how to powder something? Like, how did you figure that out with breast milk? I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Mass amounts of research on the internet. Because like for breast milk, there's so many people that do breast milk jewelry, right? Like that's been like something that's been like a trend and like going on for like so long. So like I know on Etsy you can get kits for it. There's like a whole bunch of different ways that people do things. So I had a friend who she's the one who initially asked me the question like, oh, can you do breast milk? And like if I give you like a couple bags of breast milk, will you experiment and kind of figure it out? So because most breast milk jewelry artists, they all use resin, nobody that I saw used breast milk and clay. Like clay is like my main medium. So that was what I had to kind of figure out. And I knew that like with clay, like I can incorporate like sand or like dried flowers. Like I knew I could incorporate stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, as long as I can get the breast milk into a powder and that like there's no like added moisture, then I should be totally fine. So I honestly just experimented with different methods, different like random concoctions I found on the internet. And then I found what worked the best for me. It's the one thing that I won't like my whole little recipe I won't share just because like it's the one thing
as you were talking I was like this might be proprietary, but that totally makes sense.
Yeah, and then when it came to like anything else liquid, so like semen samples, vaginal samples, and like that kind of stuff, it's like the same process.
Okay.
So because like that's kind of how when the requests for semen samples came in, I was like, okay, well, I'm assuming I could probably do it like breast milk, and it worked exactly the way I thought it would. So
interesting. Do you ever get squeamish?
yeah. Breast milk, no, because like it's like breast milk's amazing actually. It holds up so well. It could be in the mail for like a month, and you would think that it'd be like, because you think of like sour milk and whatever, but like it is like amazing. Sometimes it might like be a little like smell a little off, but otherwise like it's amazing. Semen samples in the mail, however, it's interesting. It's a day here. I have to make sure like the kids are at their dad's for like the weekend when I process samples because and I have like a special room that's like designated just for samples. So that way we can like close the door and like get candles going and everything for like it. Yeah. I don't want anybody to feel like self-conscious because like it's not like a you problem. It's just like a natural degenerate like some like it yeah. I don't even know how to put it into words.
I can't. I'm imagining and it's freaking me out only because okay, maybe it's one of those things where I wouldn't want men to feel self-conscious, but I also sort of think for me a penis in the wild, I don't really like just a random penis, not going to be excited about it. If it's attached to a person that you're attached to, seems very different. So I mean,
yeah, no, for sure. I think what a lot of people forget, because like when people instantly think of Jizzy jewelry and they see me working with it, they're like, they automatically associate it with something sexual, right? Because it's a sexual thing. Like when in people's minds, semen is sexual, right? So for me, it's just like another material. You know what I mean? So like I don't even like look at it in that way at all. So like, people make jokes like, ha ha ha, she loves playing with jizz for her like for her career or whatever. And I'm like, but I'm not playing with it. And do I like it? I mean, not really.
Yeah.
Like, is it my favorite material? Like, no, but some of the creative things that, like everybody comes up with for their jizzy pieces are freaking phenomenal. So like they're some of my and they're my like some of the nicest clients, the funniest clients. So like it's more so the clients and the creative process that I like. But when clients package things properly, the samples come in like super easy, not that bad. Does it stink a little bit? Probably, but it's not huge. It's the leaky ones that I have a problem with. Yeah, because
I
sometimes people
just
don't follow directions very well.
No, I can attest to that in my own line of work that has nothing to do with semen, that people don't follow directions, so I'm not surprised. And
Yep.
I have a joke that I've worn out too often, but I'm a social worker. My husband works as a nurse. So
Hmm.
I always laugh and say, like, I'm a social worker, we don't do fluids. So
Hmm.
I think that's why for me this is just especially funny because I've worked in medical settings where I'm around the folks
Yeah.
who do, that kind of
Hmm.
stuff, and I'm like, Mama needs to leave the room unless it's tears. And that's why
Yeah.
it's funny with my husband because I'll be like, he'll do any fluid, no tears. Me, it's like absolutely no to fluids, fine with
Yeah.
tears. So I think
Yeah.
that's why part of me has a fascination. And also having done home visits in my life, I have a real
Hmm.
appreciation for learning how to tolerate smells that maybe aren't pleasant.
Yeah, like I mean, for me, it's not so bad. My friend, however, she has like the worst gag reflex in the world. So like she like walks by the room and she's like, she goes into like a huge fit. I'm like, oh my God, you're being so dramatic. You're so dramatic. I'm like, light a candle, leave the room, go away. But she's
I
like,
mean, you
she
have
can't handle
kids
it
too.
whatsoever.
So, I mean, it's not the same, but you deal with you just
No,
deal with life and vomit and poop. And I mean,
right? Like so, well, vomit and poop, that's like my kid, I can deal with it for my kids. Those are the two things that I refuse. I refuse. That's my hard line. I will never work with vomit or feces ever.
I was just going to
Nope.
ask you if you had what your weirdest request was.
One of my weirdest requests I think was, and mind you, it was a request that didn't go through. So like I don't even know if I can count it, but somebody asked for my foot dust in a special piece for themselves. And I was like, yeah, but like I'm gonna charge like an arm and a leg for it. Like, not my
As
usual
you should.
prices, right? So, but once I gave him a quote, he didn't want to go through with it.
That is
But
spectacular and good for you for selling up.
right? Well, I'm gonna like, like if I'm gonna be including myself in anything, I'm gonna charge more. So like, I mean, that's an option, guys. If anybody wants anything from me, like totally an option, but you're gonna like, you're gonna pay for it. No, I had one girl lost her toenail. She had surgery and like her whole toenail came off and she wanted that put into a pendant and it turned out to be one of the most beautiful pieces I've ever made. But it was a toenail pendant. It was so pretty, so pretty. I've done a rib bone from like a human rib.
Whoa.
Yeah, he had surgery and like they had to remove like a broken chunk and they let him keep it. So I just wire wrapped it really pretty for them. I thought that was really cool. It was cleaning it and like getting it prepped. Prepped was one of the weirdest things though, because I'm like, this is like human meat. Like this is really gross. Like that throws me off more than the semen samples, to be honest. To be
Nope,
honest.
that's fair. That's totally fair. I also don't know if you do this, but a trick of our trade is to put like a little bit of Vicks in your nose if you ever have to do something
I
smelly.
I used to do it in the beginning, but I think I've become so desensitized that like it just doesn't bother me anymore. And it's just like it's just another day.
That makes sense.
Just
Hey
another
man,
day, just another smell.
there are wound care nurses out here doing shit I can't even imagine. I've walked by a room before where there was some serious gangrene going on and I thought I was gonna die, and they were just vibing and then went to lunch.
Yep.
So we're all
Yeah.
capable of different things, and you have
Right?
obviously found like a good way, like a good niche. And I'm sure the instructions that you give people, if followed, make all of that a lot easier. I had
Yeah.
never considered that someone would want a poop piece, but of course they do
Honestly,
because
well, so here's the thing. I'm pretty sure because like I don't get a lot of joke messages very often. Most of the time, like it's serious requests that I get, like in terms of like when people message me. So anytime somebody asks for feces, I know 100% they're joking. Every
oh,
time
okay.
because they're always like they're just like the materials that they want incorporated. They're full of shit. They're full of it. because like they come up with like, and because it's not even just like how they ask for it, it's like the ridiculous stories that they are like, oh well, I want it because, and then they come up with this like where you know when you can just tell that something's a joke and they're like trying to like be funny, and I'm just like, you're not funny though.
I sort of think
So
creative
yeah.
people also have, I don't know, more of an awareness, or you can tap into bullshit a little bit more easily, or there's
Yeah.
something, I don't know, maybe more open to energy or whatever woo-woo way people want to describe it. I think
Hmm.
it totally makes sense that you can, for lack of a better word, sniff that out maybe better than some other
Yeah.
people can.
Yeah. Well, and like it's funny because like I don't think what people realize is that, you know, because like the main thing is like the fact that I don't wear gloves when I sculpt. And first of all, I think it's a great opportunity to actually talk about STIs and like the actual facts around them. And that there's this huge stereotype, or there's this huge stigma around STIs that people need to like realize that they're not scary. Like if you touch somebody who has an STI, like you're not gonna just magically catch it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That, and for people to actually like learn um like how long pathogens like actually live,
Yeah.
because like by the time everything's a powder, um like there's nothing, there's no way that I can catch anything, right? There's nothing alive, there's nothing can survive, like things can barely survive outside of the human body for like a certain amount of time. Like once it's a powder, it's completely safe. Feces, however, there's so much extra shit in there. Like pun intended, I guess. But like there's so much extra stuff in there that you can catch. There's so much more in feces, and there's so much more like risk from feces than there is like with anything else. So I'm like, that's not only is it gross, but that's like the hard line that like I won't I won't mess around with that. So
That's fair. I think we all
yeah,
have to have our lines, and yours are probably beyond what other people would tolerate, so I don't think anyone can throw shade.
right? Yeah, no.
How does the creative process work for you when you get a request? Do you feel like inspiration kind of hits you at some point in that process? Because I don't know, I imagine you've got to kind of be in it a little bit to actually make the
Yeah. So
piece.
normally like when people give me like a basic idea, so like if there's like a shape, color scheme, like or they just tell like especially for like a memorial piece or even for Jizzy pieces if they want something more customized and they like tell me a bit about their partner. I think like once I get a good sense, like something will like different ideas will kind of meld together to like fit what I think would look really good in like what in the style or design that they're looking for. I do have clients that will be like, I just wanted to give you creative freedom and tell me nothing else, and I'm like, that's not gonna work. I'm
Okay, I
like,
was
I
gonna
need
say, is that
something.
scary?
It's not that it's scary. It's just like it's like my mind draws a blank. It's because like there's so many things that like I need you to narrow it down. Like I need you to at least like tell me what size you're comfortable with. Like I need a little bit of details, because like once I get because it'll just be like that one thing that will like trigger it for me. But if people were to like be like, here, I'm going to give you this money and just do whatever you want. I don't know. Like I don't know if they'd be okay with what I come up with.
Yeah.
Like there's like so many things that I could come up with that, like, I don't know. Like, what if they're a truck person and I give them like, a Barbie doll? Like I don't know, like just like so opposite things, right? But
Yeah.
yeah. So I need a
It's
little bit
not
of
at all the
something.
same. But when I worked at
Yeah.
Starbucks, people would be like, I don't know what I want. Surprise me. I'm like, no, 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 no. I like, give me a lane, give me a
Yeah.
parameter of some kind. At least tell me hot or
Right? Hot,
cold. I can't.
cold. Yeah.
Yeah, just something. So you do
Yeah.
like a consultation with people, like a phone call or a video call, and then you kind of.
No, so I like because there's so much time in between like talking to somebody and creating their pieces, I need everything in writing. So we do like either via message, like messenger or email. I have had people ask to do phone calls, and I'm like, I could take notes from our phone call and I will not understand my own notes in like a week from now. So it's like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I need to hear it, like I need to have it written out in your own words. And then like we'll summarize and like I can note the order from there. I'm like, but if I'm just because I'm not an auditory person, so people could talk at me and like I will not process any of it. Um, so I really need like that it to be written out, and so that way I can go back and see it in my client's words. So definitely like emails, Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger. I have like a messenger on my website, and I have so many places where people talk to me. My brain gets confused sometimes.
That's a lot. But that
Hmm.
totally makes sense. That I like the way you put that of needing to see it in their words too, because I can see how that would make a difference just in the way
Hmm.
even that it's you as the reader, that it would be different
Yeah,
reading their words versus your summary of what they said.
yeah, yeah. No, exactly. So, and just like I know some people are more like verbal and more like auditory in their like explanations or like going through it, which I totally appreciate and I totally understand. But if if I can't understand my own notes, like, and if I can't see your words, like later on when I go to do it, I'm gonna like it's not gonna be a good time. That
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
if I'd be able to like make it the way that you want it made. So definitely need to see it. And I'm such a visual. Well, obviously I'm a visual person, but yeah.
Very cool. Are there any pieces that stand out to you that I don't want to say were your favorite because maybe then a client would get butthurt, but is there anything that stood out that was particularly impactful or just kind of a cool thing to do, something you really enjoyed?
I really like, so I think some of my favorite pieces, and this is like no, like nothing on like, because like I love doing everything, but if I could like just drop everything and focus on one thing right now, it would be I did these sculptures of a sexy naked garden gnome. Um,
Love that
and
so much.
and she's like sitting on like a tree stump with like a mushroom like hat, and like her hair is all like cutesy, and like she's so curvy, and like I don't know, it was just she was like so fun to sculpt. Either that or I did a mermaid with like her little friend. Like those were some of my favorites. Sculptures are like my jam. They just take me forever and a day. So as much as I love them, I almost like hate how behind I get in them just because they take so long, and because like I've done like huge like sculpture sprees where it's like I'll take a couple days. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna like get in all on my sculptures, and then like I'm literally out flat for a week because like I've exhausted like everything. My brain won't work, my hands won't work, my back doesn't work, like nothing likes me anymore after that. So, but yeah, sculptures are or that or I made a giraffe breast milk sculpture. That was one of my
Oh,
favorites
cool.
too. Or a bumblebee or like a little bee sculpture. I've done so many things. It's hard to pick.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I was particularly tickled by your Jizzy jewelry pearl necklaces because the irony and the fun behind that absolutely
Right?
murdered me.
They're so punny.
Obsessed. But your buttholes are so fun. I think I just love all of the fun. A lot of my job is heavy material, like, heavy
Yeah.
conversations, dealing with death and dying, all of that kind of stuff. So I tend to hang out on the funny side of the internet. But like I said before, I love the whole gamut of what you're doing. And I love that you took risks in the way that you stepped out and worked with unusual materials or
Hmm.
just even your willingness to play and joke around and make a fake ad about Jizzy jewelry turning into a thing. You kind of like you made room and the universe was like, well, if you want it here and
Right?
being
Well,
willing to
I
take
think
those risks and step out.
Yeah, I think life is so flippin' serious and it's so stressful. And I think that everybody just needs to like loosen up a little bit and realize that, like, even if something's not for you, or even if something irks you, or even if like something you don't agree with, it's not like so many people have main character syndrome. You know what I mean? And, you just have to stop taking life and what other people are doing so seriously and just start to have fun with stuff. Like, because otherwise, life's too short to be stressed and like all stressy and depressy all the time, right? So that and like even when it comes to like comments or like hate comments, 'cause like I know a lot of people like hold themselves back because they're like, oh, well, like, you get so many hate comments or you get so many like people who are like not nice to you or whatever. I'm like, actually, one of my favorite things is trolling the comments now and
Yeah.
like not smack talking, but like joking back to everybody. And that's, I think, one of my favorite things to do. But
It's
so just have
weirdly
fun with
cathartic.
everything.
Yeah. If you look at things, especially that, because we've had a fair amount, we don't have near the exposure that you do, but just from a little bit, especially YouTube. YouTube algorithm feeds us exclusively to middle-aged men who do not like our content. But if you look at it from a just absurd point of view, it's so fun. It can be fun.
You know what? I think I'll give it like a good solid year. There's like a good solid year where I absolutely hated the hate comments and I would try to brush them off. I would try to be like, because everybody's like, oh, don't feed into the haters. And like, I'm just like, it's so much easier said than done. So like, I get that like what I'm saying is easier said than done. So like, I would go for like a year where like I would like fight with people in the comments and like get so offended and be like, how could you say that about something that like, I've put so much effort into, right? And it was only until like I started kind of just trolling and like it took a while for me to get used to it, I guess. And then I realized that like, well, the more hate comments I get, the more views I get, which means the more people see my stuff, which means like, the more I find the right people. So I'm like, by people giving me their negative energy, they're actually helping me. So
Yeah.
why not
Yeah.
roll
As
with
long
it,
as you
I
don't
guess.
take in the negativity and let it change your atmosphere, then if you
Exactly.
can just kind of like step back and look at it, it's truly absurd that somebody is anonymously sitting in another room, maybe halfway across the country, typing out
Yeah.
angry things. And also, what is your life that's how you want to spend your time?
Well, no, exactly. Well, and like I kind of like not that I'm comparing myself to like a celebrity or like anybody like, but like it's not like you see Rihanna like going through her comment section and like getting all butthurt because, Joe Blow from, Idaho is saying like, some mean things. So if they can go through it and like not look at the comments and like still do their thing, then like we should be able to do that too.
Yeah. And I think last but not least, because I know you're super busy and I don't want to hold you up too long, how do you balance your business and being a mom? Because I'm not a parent, but Kayla has had one, and just how much, and to be fair, her son is just about to turn 2. So maybe a different phase of life. But do you
Yeah.
find it's hard to balance your life and your work and your creativity and giving yourself something so that you feel full enough to pour that into your art?
Yeah, no, yeah, it's one of the hardest things that I don't think I'm ever going to be successful at in terms of like balance and figuring it out. I think it's more so just learning to embrace the chaos, unfortunately, which I'm not good at. I'm one of those people that like I need like a strict routine. I need a strict schedule so that way I know exactly what I'm doing. And like in this process of having so many things to balance, I've almost had to get to a point where like I have to just embrace the chaos and just be, happy with whatever productive thing I can do and like be in the moment and enjoy the moment. So whether that moment is, my kids coming up and interrupting my creative flow and, instead of getting frustrated and annoyed, spending time with them and like having that moment because like I think it's just finding the positives. I sound like such a like toxic positivity kind of vibe, but I swear it's not. I swear it's not. But like the fact that I can stay home and be with my kids, because of like what I've built, the fact that I am teaching my kids, like a good, really good work ethic and that they can follow their dreams and do something that they love. But at the same time, giving, like pouring into them just as much as I pour into my business, I think is something that I've had to learn to juggle and because I'm not going to lie, like there's been some points where my anxiety would get the best of me and like, I would brush my kids off like because it's like, well, how do you think that I pay for all the stuff that like that you want or like, that I like put a roof over our heads and food in your bellies and blah blah blah. And so like they would get brushed off and they would like I would be busy all the time. And finally I got to a point where I'm just like I can't be doing this anymore. Like
Yeah.
I'm doing this for them, but not to brush them off or like not be a part of everything. So when things get too overwhelming, my daughter is a box folding expert. So she helps me,
Yes, I was gonna say, can they participate? I'm not trying to promote child labor, but where it's sort of a fun family activity?
Yeah, no. So like my daughter is like a box folding expert. So if you guys get packages where like my stamp in the inside of the box is a little blurry, it's probably because my kids have been helping with getting all the boxes ready. They help me bring everything to the post office. So we do our like little post office runs and like in terms of like actual production, they can't really like they're not at the age where like I trust them to actually help in that sense. But like for the other ends of things, like they're really good. At one point, they were like writing or like coloring little cards to go in people's orders.
I love
Like, thank you
that.
for helping my mommy.
Oh my God, that's
So they
so
were really cute.
cute.
Right. So I try to like get them involved as much as as much as they want to be and as much as I possibly can, or like to the best of their abilities, because I think just them having that sense of like pride that, you know, they can be a part of this is like something really big for me. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
I think last before we wrap up is just how can
Mhm.
people find you? What's the best way for them to order? Just tell us so that we're promoting what you're doing, although it sounds like you don't need our help. But what's the best way for people to reach out and see what your art is and request?
Yeah, no, for sure. So my website is normally like a good starting point. So it's trinketsbyamandabooth.com. I do have a lot of popular designs on there. So for anybody who's like who wants things with like sentimental material, so like ashes or flowers or jizz, female samples, breast milk, any of that stuff. When you place an order, I have a link in my order confirmation emails that walk you through like the shipping process. So that way it's like super easy peasy. And then if there's any questions, concerns, or anything like that, you can always like reach out through email afterwards. For anybody who wants something a little bit more specific or like wants to like do a consult in a design process, email is normally pretty good. Facebook Messenger is, well, I honestly like I keep tabs on all places. The only time that there's a little bit of a wait for a response for me to get back is just like if like I have, because well, you know how videos randomly blow up sometimes. So it's like I'll have like a weekend where I randomly, get a crap ton of messages where I have to like do a little bit of catch up. But for the most part, I'm pretty good at getting back to everybody, no matter where they find me.
Okay, okay. Well, that's awesome. Seriously,
Hmm.
thank you so much. This has been so fun. I have loved watching your videos. I love listening to your, voice overview. I get excited when they pop up because it's like, what is she making today? Is this going to be a memorial for a person who died? Is this going to be a butthole? Is there a wiener? The whole gamut. It makes me so happy. And then I just also need to say that I love that all your videos are of your hands and you have awesome hand
Yep.
tattoos.
Thank you. Thank you. I was so excited because like when I first started doing this, I didn't have hand tattoos, but like when I got them, I was just like, this is just so perfect.
I
But
think
yeah,
you
they're my
might be
favorite.
you're the poster child of when hand tattoos work.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
can't
And
say that,
and
that they would be for everyone, but
my artist did such an amazing job too because like I haven't had them touched up at all. Like they might need a little my finger ones might need a little bit of touching up, but like they haven't needed to be touched up at all in the last few years. So like he's amazing.
I love that. Well, shout out to the tattoo person. I don't know you, but
Yeah.
you're doing great work too. Well, awesome. I love this. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. We
Yeah, no,
will.
thank you for having me.
This has been such a joy. All right, everybody. That concludes our interview. Just talking about creativity and motion with a real life creative who is making her money and living off of her creative venture. And I don't know if it really gets any cooler than that. So thank you all for listening, but especially thank you to Amanda Booth and Trinkets by Amanda Booth for giving us a slice of her time this morning for us to record and to chat and just to find out more about what she does and how she does it. I don't know. I find it inspiring. And I think the coolest takeaway for me is that she's able to do her art and do it in a way that is for her and that she is able to run her business the way that she wants and just the way that it started and it built and the way that creativity and the muse just sort of laid the path out in front of her and how she had the courage to take up that call and to step out into the unknown and to create. So thank you so much, Amanda. We absolutely loved getting the opportunity to do this. And everybody check out trinketsbyamandabooth.com and all of her other social media links in the bio. Until next time, we will see you later. And even though Kayla's not here, I love you. Bye. Look at this little beast. This thing was chewing on my hair for half of the interview.